Good day, ladies and gents. This is Petey from SupplementReviews.com. Today we're going to be talking about their Optimum Nutrition Performance Whey. Their flagship protein over the years has been one of the best-selling proteins of all time, gold standard whey, as many of you know. And I guess with the rising cost of raw materials, the price has been increased over the few years gradually. So their answer to that was to make like a cheaper, more economical version of protein for those that don't have as much cash to spend, while putting their name on the line for a slightly cheaper product. Today we're here to talk about it, break it down, see how it compares to the original gold standard, and see what my final thoughts are on it. Alright, so let's dive on in here. Looking at the nutritional profile, it's got a little more fat than the regular gold standard whey does, so a few more calories. One rounded scoop, 39 grams. There's 50 per container, so it is a very good value whey. I mean, this was less than 50 bucks for 50 servings, so it's a very well-priced product. I believe it was $45. So with that said, the price point's a little bit better than their gold standard whey. Once again, you're paying for quality, but it doesn't differ too much. We'll delve into that later. So, in each scoop, you got 160 calories, 35 which are from fat, 4 grams of that of fat total per serving, and 2.5 of that is saturated. That's a combination of the medium chain triglycerides that they add to it, as well as some of the byproduct of having some whey protein concentrate in there. It's nothing to be alarmed about, but it is a little more fat per serving compared to their gold standard whey. So that's one area it differs. Cholesterol, 30% of your daily value at 90 milligrams. Once again, you're having the whey protein concentrate in there that's going to increase the amount of cholesterol in your product. So it's nothing to be alarmed about. There's a bunch of different thoughts on this, on dietary cholesterol versus your total blood cholesterol and how it impacts and interacts with each one another. Unless you're having 4 to 5 scoops of this a day, you should be fine. Even then, I mean, I've seen people eat ridiculous amounts of cholesterol and have perfect blood values. I'm not saying to eat all the cholesterol you want either. That's not what I'm getting after. But regardless, moving on. Sodium, 6%. It's a standard protein. 9 grams of carbs, 4 of it's sugar. Some of that is from lactose. Some of it, only tiny bit of that's from added sugar itself, which is good. And of course, the most important one, 20 grams of protein. That's in one scoop. Looking at the ingredient profile itself, instead of having straight up whey protein isolate and hydrosylates, it's a slightly cheaper blend. In that blend here for this, you have whey protein concentrate, okay, whey protein isolate, hydrolyzed whey protein isolate, hydrolyzed whey protein concentrate. So overall, it is still all whey, but it does have some concentrate in there, which is going to cheapen the blend and, of course, make it a slightly less pure protein product. But we've talked about this before, that sometimes with a pure protein, it can get over-processed, and depending on if it's on exchange whey or not, it could denature the protein. So having concentrate isn't always a bad thing. It's closer to a whole food protein, as it has stuff in it that some of the processing is going to take out. So I'm actually a fan of whey protein concentrate. Unless you have digestive issues with certain proteins, I mean, it really doesn't matter that much in terms of whey. The only thing that's going to be different is the absorption rate. Moving on from there, they add a creamer blend, glucose syrup solids, coconut oil, sodium caseinate, dipotassium phosphate, silicon dioxide, titanium dioxide, mono and diglycerides, turmeric and annatto extracts, and a few artificial flavors. You're not going to find that in gold standard whey. That is added to this just to make it not clump up and to make it mix a little bit smoother, and of course to increase the, the flavor value of it. That is a good selling point of this, is that they put a big emphasis on how the flavor was. So once again, there's a few added things in here compared to the gold standard whey that don't necessarily need to be in there, but overall, it's nothing I can't live with. At least they weren't morons like Gaspari and put transaturated fat in their product. Okay, moving on from there. Of course, you got cocoa, because it's chocolate, and I hope that would be in there. Medium chain triglycerides, aka most times coconut oil. It's the fat that's more likely to be burned as fuel rather than stored. There's not a whole bunch in here, maybe a gram or two at the very, very most, if they're lucky. And from the rest there, just a few things we're just rounding out there. Natural artificial flavors, lecithin, salt, gum blend, just keep from caking and for flavor. Got some seaweed in there. And a little bit of exsulfame, potassium, and sucralose, aka sugar. So it is good to see sugar last on here. Overall, the ingredient profile is not as high quality as the gold standard whey, but it's still very solid. It has to get a lower grade than a gold standard whey would. I'm going to give it a solid 8.3 out of 10. It's not perfect, but at the same time, it is a very economical whey for what you're getting. So once again, overall ingredient profile 8.3. Moving on to taste and mixability, it mixes pretty well, slightly a little more clumpy than the gold standard whey that's, glass smooth in terms of when you mix it. But it is very delicious, both with water and with almond milk. It has a really rich chocolatey flavor with the chocolate. So I actually really liked it. That's one of the best parts about this, is if you're looking for some flavor, it's very pleasing. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. It has a kind of a odd cocoa taste. It's kind of like cocoa powder is the main thing you taste in it, so it's a little bittersweet, but it's still pretty tasty. And of course, effectiveness. Once again, it's protein. I mean, it's hard to mess that up. I like it. I haven't had any issues with it. If you're watching your macros really closely and you have to cut back on fat here or there, this might not be your top choice in protein. But I gave it a 9 out of 10. I mean, it's hard to mess up whey. I like the blend idea because you get the whole food items in there that get filtered out. So once again, a 9 out of 10 in terms of effectiveness. Overall value, this is where it shines. You're going to get it, I'll have to round it down a little bit because of the creamer in there, slightly less, I guess, pure products compared to the gold standard whey, but still gets a solid 8.7 out of 10. It's a very economically priced whey for those of you that have a tighter budget and can't always spring for the price of a 5-pound tub of gold standard compared to this. That's going to be upwards of 60 bucks versus this is just under 50. So you're getting a lot of servings here, less than $1 a serving, 50 scoops in, I believe this is a 4.3 pound container. And it's a good value, and that was their main selling point here, is you're getting value as well as their quality optimum protein in here. So overall, I was pleased with it. It's a well-rounded product, it's very price efficient, and for what you get, I feel it's high quality. I'm going to have to give it an 8.9 out of 10. They did a good job of bringing a more competitive protein to the market for those that have a tighter budget, like I said, and to compete with some of the other, I guess, the lower level of proteins out there, like this. You might find in some stores carrying that aren't pure isolates and hydrosylates, because if you're paying for the platinum hydro whey price, you're going to be getting the highest quality stuff, versus this is their lower level protein, and it's still very solid. So I have no complaints here. It's an enjoyable product, and there isn't anything in it that I don't want in there, and there isn't anything that I'd like in there that isn't in there. They picked pretty much picked the method, went with it, and they overall had a good product. So once again, I'd give it a good recommendation, especially if you're lower on cash. I mean, it's a good protein to try out, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. This has been Petey from SupplementReviews.com coming at you today with the Performance Whey review from Optimum Nutrition. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, +1 us on Google+, and all that other good social media stuff to stay in the know. Anything else, post it in the social media section of the forum. You have a good day, everybody.